Okay, we're going to get started here. All right, everybody. Our next guest is going to be John Kelly, and I've known John for a long time. He's been coming to the ranch and doing reverse speech, and he did some reverse speech on me once that opened my eyes to a lot more knowledge that I didn't even know I had. So about certain objects, but anyway, he's always out there with his camera doing his thing, and I can always depend on John to get the footage and get the real photos and everything else going on here. So he's always been an asset and you know, a great service to ECETI, and I've always enjoyed working with him, and I'm sure we'll be working together a lot longer. So without any further ado, I want to welcome John Kelly.
Thank you everybody. I'm John Kelly. I'm a Canadian journalist. I write a column, the Vancouver UFO Examiner, stories within which are regularly featured in major publications indexed on USA Today, Dallas Morning News, AOL News, Huffington Post, Forbes.com. I'm a former CBS radio feature producer, a lot of experience with media, a lot of experience with paranormal, spiritual, supernatural topics as well. And today's presentation will just be a brief presentation. I have about 20 minutes of video prepared, and I hope that many of you are familiar with the ECETI Ranch will see some of the various phenomena that are well known here. Represented in this presentation. There are many talented photographers and researchers in our group this weekend, and I want you to know that if you have more materials you'd like to forward to me, we can review those later. I wasn't able to fit everybody's material in, but I think the world of people who are here with their cameras working hard to bring out the truths about the other dimensions that we can access as people today. You may have seen the story in today's news. It was in the UK Guardian newspaper. Alien encounters within 20 years, says a Russian scientist. A top Russian astronomer says he expects humans to encounter extraterrestrial civilizations within the next 2 decades. Well, in a way, it's true. It's true. You know, if you consider that, in fact, this weekend is a part of the next 20 years. And in fact, yes, that we could say that alien encounters are happening in that time period. So I hope you agree with me on that. Space, just on the final frontier, the human legacy or perhaps human destiny related intensely with space. We're looking into the galactic core, the Milky Way. And in our studies this weekend, we've taken ourselves away from the city and the busy world of industry out to a remote paradisical ranch with a field of dreams. And we're still traveling by automobile, but it seems some of our friends have found maybe a better way to travel. And this light on the mountain is being accompanied by a special object in the sky, but perhaps you'll be able to see that it is unlike most aircraft. There's our power right there. The field, of course, is populated with all kinds of interesting phenomena, including this ball of plasma that's flying at great speed, just above ground level. I was able to catch that last night. And we see many things like that. Here's one of our power-ups. And here's some of the comments happening during the event.
Come on, have a look what's through the defense here.
This is a demonstration of stereo imaging, so we're using 2 camera systems mounted on one rig, and they are documenting the same event at the same time. This helps to eliminate instrumental failure as a cause for the images that are being sensed by the cameras. Those images are there. It's science. 2 instruments, 1 phenomenon. It's really happening.
Good shot. Hello, guys. Awesome.
No, it was easy to keep the calibrations. This is a work in progress, but I hope you get the flavor of the experience by watching.
So right, zebra out the camera.
I'm saying that the zebra powers the cameras, the light is emitting so much light that it's maxing out the camera sensitivity. And you can see on the night vision side, the right-hand frame, the black bands. It means that the electronic iris is actually shutting down the scan lines at the brightest point of the UFO. There's so much intense light. Plus, you might be able to see at the bottom that
the system is
the swinging light down there is actually refraction pattern equivalent to the scope, which means that you know, the ISS is shooting a beam of light down to the ground and illuminating the subjects. Well, I don't think that's the ISS. I think it's something much closer. And that little refraction pattern is evidence for that. Here we see the light contracts and then re-expands, powers down and powers up, unlike most satellites or airplanes. And now a major contraction again, and a re-expansion, followed by total contraction and complete disappearance. It disappears both in color and in infrared. The way this presentation is running today, you can't see the color side doing that, but both cameras got the same event. That object disappeared from view in 2 frequencies of light, the visible spectrum and the infrared spectrum. I'm trying to recapture the sighting. As you see, I'm scouring the skies to get the object back in sight, and I do reposition the camera successfully. I do recapture it. As it trails out and leaves us behind, we'll see that the color image fades first, and the infrared sustains much longer. The long wavelengths of infrared allow us to see further. They avoid atmospheric scatter effects. You can see further in the sky at night with an infrared sensor over something that's just capturing visible light alone. So our friend crosses the sky onto the next UFO ranch on its schedule. I'm sure there are many en route. Many vortexes to visit that night. And we can see there's no further really anomalous phenomena associated with this particular event, but I think it more than satisfied us that that was not conventional aircraft or known celestial phenomena of any kind. That was a complete unknown beyond the performance or behavior of what we might have expected. Here's one of our friendly orbs flying in front of Mount Adams, well formed and circular. Just like the wonderful orbs that are being captured by our photographers here this weekend, and there are many photographs you may have seen, some of them on the field. If you have some yourself, you haven't shown them to your neighbor, let people know what you've seen and let them know that you've captured something that's also being able to be captured on video. It's not just something of your imagination or a mistake in your camera. I believe there are these round artifacts floating out there, and this is a capture that demonstrates it. Of course, many of the orbs, if we look in close detail, we see fascinating colors and patterns, including face-like structures resembling the faces of people or animals or beings perhaps alien to this world. If they are spirit entities traveling, they may not be restricted, you know, with physical limits of travel such as those cars or airplanes that we need. They may be moving superior distances with the aids of vortex, wormhole, black hole propulsion, other kinds of phenomena that are evident at this location, coming from distant worlds. Join us on camera for today's presentation. Very delicate little object. It's illuminated by the lamp on the scope. It's in the foreground. It's in front of the trees, and it descends across the field. Can't differentiate it from anything else there. Here's another power-up, and we have it again in stereo. The left-hand window this time is showing us an infrared view, but showing the infrared colors, which may help us in the future understand further information about what happened during that event. So we have infrared color and infrared night vision monochrome on that. Another power-up event featuring multiple laser pointers. Some suggest as perhaps overpowering the naturalness of the scenario, but yet UFO witnesses in famous locations, including Stephenville, Texas, have spoken at length to me about disco ball type UFOs shooting light beams in every direction. I've documented the same in Marfa, Texas, and so I respect that. The laser accompanying the UFO is not unlike the UFO's own natural ability to emit light, as many of us have seen. Certainly the power-up events where they beam down to the ground and illuminate the witnesses. A lot of light coming off those UFOs. So again, we have color, slow shutter color, giving us a high intensity possibility of stills, as well as real-time motion in night vision to help us understand the behavior of the object. I don't know, did sound at the board get turned down off the computer? I'm not sure what the level is. Everyone probably saw that light on the top of the mountain. If you're on the field, you noticed that the top of the mountain was lit up with visible light. You could see it with your naked eye. And those lights moved around through the last 4 nights, and I spent a lot of time filming the mountain to see that. Just give you just a sample of the laser interactions with Mount Adams and the lights here. Another power-up incident, filmed in color, and night vision. Again, stereo imaging helping us provide real evidence.
Enough with the lasers, man. Holy cow. Freaking out the shot.
No, that is not the UFO creating those special light effects on the screen. That is our observers on the ground interacting, expressing their creative geometric design drawing abilities in the skies. Well, I think some of the numbers that people feel comfortable with throwing out here that I've heard, and having been here a few times, you know, within 1 mile, that kind of range. But I'm not knowing the difficulty assessing scale. With a different stereo configuration of 2 camera systems, it would be possible to triangulate distance. I have a very minimal gap between the 2 cameras. They're only less than a foot apart, so I don't know if I have enough. I can do the math, but you know, there are ways to go further to calculate range. Of course, a laser rangefinder is a common piece of equipment. Someone could bring to this location and attempt to laser range find the objects as they travel, and that would certainly give an accurate reading there. Which frame? Which, the left or the right window? The left window. Why is it going red? Because the optical zoom on the left window is 3 times that of the right-hand window. Motion at the camera in tilt and pan is exaggerated intensively, but because color imaging in visible light is much more difficult with this kind of a subject, you have to bring it. You have to zoom in as close as possible optically in order to even resolve an image. So, this is stereo imaging, both systems mounted on the same ring, same time, same object, viewed in 2 different spectra. One is visible light, the other is infrared. So again, this is work in progress. You know, within the hours that I've had, I've assembled this presentation. There are further ways to produce and draw from the video, but I think you can see that there's lots of color data. There's color changing data, as well as performance and behavioral data. There's lots of information here. If someone was serious about studying UFOs, this could be valuable in helping them to make sense of the phenomena that happened here at E7.
Is given the change of course that you can observe, there's no conventional explanation, is there?
For change of course?
That's obviously moving in a way that no conventional vehicle would.
The right-hand window, as we agreed, is moving erratically, but more than the UFO jumping around, it really represents the exaggerated motion of the tripod in an attempt to continue tracking the object, because the optical zoom is something like 30 or 32 power, as compared to the right-hand window, which is about 10 or 11 power. The right-hand window is much more forgiving of jitter, whereas the left-hand window, it exaggerates every tiny movement. So don't be confused by the erratic movement on the right-hand side. The smooth tracking is the left-hand window. It's the same event, same object, just different magnifications.
John, can you explain the issue of reflection?
What do you think is design assessment? 15 minutes late though.
Well, at the time of sunset, the sun disappears below the Earth's horizon, so a ground-based observer won't be able to see it, or the light waves won't reach them, but objects at high elevations will still be receiving those light waves from the sun until they enter the Earth's shadow. And so objects at sunset have the potential to be satellites, but we can know by other behavioral characteristics such as the contraction and expansion of the luminous emissions, power down, power up, power down. That's just not in the books. Satellites will flare famously, and they'll create a disk of light about 10 miles in diameter on the Earth's surface when they're reflecting sunlight at those times, but they don't flare repeatedly in the same sighting. That's unlike satellites. So I'm interested in setting baselines, and we're certain that we're going to catch satellites with this kind of study of the night sky. You're going to get satellites, but you'll know the UFOs by the behavioral differences, which will include power up, power down, erratic light displays, erratic trajectory changes, speed up, slow down. And I think the catalog that I've prepared for tonight includes those attributes in the objects that we're studying. They behave unlike satellites. Satellites can't change course or speed without catastrophic consequences. It doesn't work. So this is something else. This is Mount Adams, lights on the mountain, and I'm just showing, I think, more that they're moving. These lights are descending. So one light is split into two and it's descending. I have this in stereo. Just haven't had time to patch it, all the other cameras together, but very interesting study of the mountain. I had recorded mountain lights, very brief clips of them in 2009, 2010, and this year I've had ample opportunity to study the mountain lights because they've been exceptionally active for at least 3 of the nights that I've been here. Exceptionally active, very mysterious. Ground-based lights behaving like UFOs, brown mountain lights. Some of us may have heard of the brown mountain lights. I think it's in the Carolinas and the East Coast. Marfa desert lights, ground-based lights again that behave like UFOs. Here's a UFO on the glacial ice field on the side of a mountain, I'm saying, and it's because of its stationary nature, relatively stationary nature, it's easier to study. You can just set the camera and monitor at that position. An easier study on the observer than tracking UFOs as they cross the sky and do all those different things. Well, I'm convinced by the erratic behavior, the dispersion of the lights, and the suggested column response behavior that's demonstrated when the lights are, when the mountain is stimulated with a laser light. The lights on the mountain do perform power-up behaviors that suggest that they're responding to lasers. And I just can't think of anybody, certainly myself, at 2 in the morning on an ice field on the side of a mountain at 3,000 or 4,000 feet with the wind blowing and trying to get some sleep. I can't imagine spending that night engaging with light games with someone in a field 13 miles away. It doesn't seem that would be the kind of behavior I would engage in. I'd probably just be trying to stay warm. So.
Yeah, that's a wilderness area. There's no snowmobiles out there.
Well, there you go.
No vehicles whatsoever.
We'll come to that question in a minute. Let's move ahead while the video is rolling because I think that's an important question. This is a very exceptional recording because what you'll see is that the UFO is accompanied by other objects. So this is just the other night, and I think it's very unusual footage. Either those are orbs or bugs, but they are not there. Where's the source of illumination? They're being illuminated by this unknown entity. A very mysterious piece of footage. Again, we just captured it. I wasn't able to get the stereo imaging on it. I have this is the version I have, but some of the strangest footage I've ever seen.
Is that last night?
I think this is last night. Yeah, this last night. So now we'll see the light is diminishing and then expanding. Not a satellite. It's not here. By its behavior, we know that it's something else. It's flying low enough. If those are insects, it's flying low enough to interact with insects just above the ground. If those are orbs, then it's just performing really eccentric behavior that doesn't match any other kind of known vehicle or atmospheric phenomenon. So I'm tracking this one, and I think it's a classic shot because of just the strange quotient is way through the roof. And we thought there might have been another entity, so we moved the camera off this one. But again, you see magnifying and contracting and expanding. Unlike satellites, it's not a flare. Satellites don't flare 3 times in a row on the same site. It doesn't work like that. Okay, this is really exceptional. Extremely slow moving. Big power-up incident. This object differentiates itself from a conventional aircraft. As we follow the sighting, it does things that are performance-wise outside of the realm of the known, at least the consumer or the civilian technologies. So So again, very slow moving, as if it's, it's hanging out over the ranch and, assimilating the whole situation with us here. And, I'm certain that when they power up that close, that they're illuminating us. If someone was looking down, they would see that our faces are lit up. There's so much light coming down. So as this object travels, I'm not positioned optimally. I have to reposition, so there's a cut here when I'm repositioning. Then we'll go to the last part where it reappears, and that shows off some really spectacular behavior. It's, to me, creating this kind of film it's sort of like science fiction and special effects without the science fiction and without the special effects. Maybe you'll agree. So it's still traveling behind the trees. It's very difficult for me to fake that without, exceptional special effects. And now here's where it reemerges, still visible from the ground, some laser interaction, but there's a performance characteristic here that differentiates this object, and you'll see it shortly. Does it appear to be picking up speed? Does it appear to be picking up a lot of speed? So by that severe acceleration, accompanied by the diminishment in the luminous output, we know that those characteristics don't normally accompany, dirigibles and Venus, swamp gas. Those celestial phenomena with which we are familiar, those meteorological events, of which we are well versed, do not fit very well. This is information about me. I write the Vancouver UFO Examiner, examiner.com, read my column, lots of interesting stuff there. YourInnerVoice.com, secretmessagetv.com, the up-and-coming UFOoptics.com, and a toll-free number where you can call. I do all kinds of interesting disclosure-related work, truth community-related work, and explorations of the unconscious, the spirit, new science, frontiers of knowledge and adventure. I hope that you've enjoyed this short samples from this weekend. I have a substantial catalog of unusual materials, and if you have any more questions before we wind up, I'd be happy to speak to those now. Yeah. Yeah. That is the IR footage. The IR footage is monochrome. The color is a tint that I applied to the original black and white. So it's tinted, it's monochrome. There's information in the data pertaining to the the wavelengths and frequencies. A person who was interested in that could use that that instrumental data to make such measurements. I didn't provide that for tonight's presentation, but yeah, there's substantial mathematical data in there, and my goal is by utilizing multiple spectrums of light that I can help people, creating that kind of information to form a successful analysis that may tell them more. One popular means of assessing the nature of the UFO phenomena relates to using a diffraction grating to get a spectroscopic image, acquire a spectroscopic image, just like a star could tell us about its elemental compounds by the different colors of light that come from the combustion effects. So the UFO propulsion may be better understood through such studies as well. Were there other questions?
Can we buy a copy of anything from you so we can take it home and show our family?
Yeah, my content is all being produced into different forms. I'm in talks with James right now about this material, and we'll be certain, we can create a sign-up list perhaps, people interested in follow-up on that, and I'll be certain to have follow-up for you, availability
I have everyone's email address, so I'll make sure that everybody gets the information.
And any other questions? Hi.
What sort of new technology do you envision would be great to help transition the more science and everything? So whether it's optics or you know how
Well, on a consumer budget, there are restrictions, and perhaps the solution will be network communities of individual research, combining their resources to achieve these kind of effects. I think that the field researchers with whom I'm familiar with and who I've traveled with extensively to go to locations where sightings are possible, reporting such as this is possible, are much more concerned with the active nature of the investigation of being, rather than distilling knowledge in a test tube as a consequence. But each person plays their part. For me, this is much more presently about the acquisition of data and direct experience with the phenomenon, rather than trying to reach any overly major conclusions. Otherwise, other than the conclusion that the phenomenon is friendly and that this phenomenon is mind expanding. And that satisfies me and a number of other folks. But again, we're creating data of substance that can be further investigated. We're not hiding our trail. We're acting in an open way, and we're conducting ourselves in such a way that those serious minds who do want to apply their knowledge and abilities in a scientific way, we're giving them the evidence to conduct such investigations based on the resources that we have. And I anticipate all kinds of future developments. I can't tell you what this might be, but thermal imaging is very interesting. Acoustic studies. I want to stress that I'm really, in some ways, I'm walking in the footsteps of those who've come before. Many of the things I'm demonstrating tonight have already been recorded at this location. So there's a lot of great research and a lot of great instruments, but I think going the distance, it's not enough just to have a really fancy instrument. It's to be able to inspire the imagination of the public to get to engage them with the subject in a constructive way. But by using such instruments is more important, because you'll see that there's a lot of fancy research that gets dovetailed, this sidetracked this way and that way, and it never goes anywhere. So instrumentation is important. More important is the ambition and drive to carry the torch and get the message through in a clear way that will help to prepare the stage for future contact and more knowledge. I want to say thank you to everybody who came, and it's so wonderful to be here with you this weekend. If we get the sign-up list with everyone's email address, we can have lots of follow-up. You've seen my contact information. If you have questions, I'm here all week, so please come and see me after. Thank you again, everybody, and hope everyone
We're going to do just a real short clearing in here, just to kind of clear out any energies. If anybody wants to participate in that, it's something we do on a regular basis, just to keep the energies clear here at the ranch. So if you want to hang out for just 15 minutes, we're going to do a short healing any unseen negative influences and kind of juicing anybody up that wants to experience the energy. So we'll start lining up out here. You could just stay where you are. You can stay where you are. Oh, yeah.